Today, we're talking about a little bit of a hidden secret in the design world, and that is our actual process as designers, how we actually work through a project. This is something that simplifies for you the steps you need to be taking and in which order. So let's get right into it. The step that we start with as designers, once we've met our client and we start working on the project, we start with a concept. So before we go too deep into any materials, finishes, layouts, we want a solid concept of what is the direction that we are headed with this project. That way, we've got everybody on board of what is the look and the feel that we are trying to accomplish in this space. This is a very valuable step for you as a homeowner when you're tackling your own home because you are solidifying the decisions of the look and feel. So this is like your roadmap. This is what you will come back to when you are standing in a showroom and you are looking at all the choices and you're feeling overwhelmed. You're going to go back to this initial concept and you're going to remind yourself, yes, this is the look and feel that I am after with this home. So it really helps you to gain clarity and to provide that roadmap, like I said, to make sure that you're staying on track because it is so easy once you start making decisions and visiting showrooms and looking at samples to get off track and forget what the goal was. So take the time and really analyze the whole concept of the home. What is the look and feel that you want in your space? Once you've done that, then as designers, we get into what we call the development phase. So this is the biggest phase in the entire project, other than the actual build, obviously. But this is where everything is happening. This is where everything is being pulled together and everything is coming to life. So it does take time, and that is something that I think is so important to know is this is a process and it is a long process. So don't be feeling like you need to rush to get to the end to make all the selections. And the critical part to this is to start early. So start before the project is starting, right? Start to get those ideas going because then you won't feel rushed when you need to be making the decisions. And hopefully, you've planned enough in advance that you already have the information and the decisions made well before your contractor might be looking for them. That is my hope for you for your renovation. So during the development phase, we start with doing a really deep dive into how the people who live in the space use their home. What are the daily habits? What are the things that are happening day in and day out? What do we need to put in place as support systems to give this family the best opportunity to really thrive in their home and have a space that's really supporting them and is guiding them through their day and causing the least amount of friction? So start looking at all the key areas where you might want some support. Things like your storage is a huge one. You really want to nail down storage, organization. This is huge and it's truly critical for a successful renovation because if your home is just beautiful, but it doesn't actually flow and function well, then it's just not a successful renovation. And these things need to be thought out ahead of time because we might be going to our builder or our contractor and asking them to make slight adjustments to plans to accommodate these ideas. Really get a handle on things like that are happening on a daily basis. How are you going out of the house every day? What is the system? Where are the shoes? Where are the bags? Where are the coats? Do you have something in place that really supports the organization and the flow of how everyone's coming into the house and leaving the house every day? That's a critical one. The other one is the kitchen. Everything happens in the kitchen. So making sure that the kitchen is laid out in a way that's really going to support your family and your habits. If you've got coffee drinkers in the house, you might want to dedicate a separate area just for coffee, or a bar area if you do lots of entertaining, so that it's not friction for someone working in the kitchen to come in and just make a coffee in the mornings. Setting up these beautiful details of habits and things that you want to enjoy in your home every day is going to give you a more successful renovation, because you're going to enjoy these little details throughout your home. Really spend a lot of time focusing on what are your habits, what are your organizational needs, and start documenting what are the things that we really need to see in the space. Then once the organization part is figured out, then we really get into the planning of the space and what are the materials that we are going to use. And we go back to what is our concept and making sure that we're aligned with what that original vision is. Always be checking back to that to make sure that these decisions are all aligned. And that is gonna give you a space that feels cohesive and intentional, and it's gonna give you the flow that you want for your space. So as you're working through and you're looking at, well, what are these finishes that we want to see in the home, we as designers are planning all the way forward. So we don't just look at, oh, what is the hardwood and what is the color of the cabinetry? We're planning ahead to what is the furnishing? What is the decor? What would the wallpaper be? What are the light fixtures? Because we want to see an entire picture of what the space is going to look like. And this is also critical because what happens is you get decision fatigue. So if you leave those items to the end, what I often see happening is you just make a quick decision because you just need it to be over with, or your contractor just needs a choice. So you're not choosing with intention because you're rushing the choice. The other thing that happens is the budget gets eaten up because we didn't allocate for the furniture and the decor. And really, this is what makes a house a home. It's not just the shell, it's not the hard finishes, it's all the layering that goes into the home that really supports you and elevates the space. So, we want to be thinking about furniture, decor, and how we are bringing life into this home. And the budget. It's so critical that you've planned for these costs, because ultimately you are going to need to make these investments. So you want to make sure that you have allowed for them. So that is how we get started with every project, to make sure that we are aligned and intentional and focused on an end result that, like I said, is not just beautiful, but it actually supports the growth of the family that lives in that home, how they want to live, and how they can get the very best out of their space. So I hope that gives you some tips and ideas to help you on your next project.